Classifying triangles. This is the first part of the notes for the sides and angles of triangles unit. So summary, triangles can be classified by both sides and angles. That's what this first section is all about. So since we can classify by both sides and angles, let's take a look at classifying by sides first. So classifying by sides is going to come first. So the first classification for sides is scaling. And we can see here that no two sides are congruent. Don't forget that symbol means congruent. And congruent simply means same size, same shape, things like that. So I'll just write that underneath. So congruent just means that two or more objects have the same size or same shape, excuse me. So for example, if we're looking here at this triangle, we can see that, just for example, if this was like 4 centimeters long, this one, I don't know, say 5 centimeters long, and this one's 6 centimeters long, so none of the sides are equal to each other. So that's what scaling triangles are. Next we have isosceles triangles. So for isosceles, instead of no equal sides, you're going to have two equal sides, or two congruent sides. So down here we have an example, and we can see here that this side and this side are congruent to each other. So if we wanted to just make up an example, we could say this side is 7, for example, and this one could be 7, and then the one at the bottom could be 4 units long. So you can see that the two sides going on the yellow are both equal to each other. So that's what isosceles triangles will look like. And of course they can also look like this, as long as those two are the same. So just some examples for you there. The vertex angle is this angle at the top. And then the base angles would be the ones down here. Now, they may not always be at the bottom, but they're always going to be across from the congruent sides. So that's how you can tell where they are. So the next classification is equilateral triangles, and that one's pretty easy to remember. Equilateral just means equal sides. So equa means equal, lateral means side, so that they have equal sides. So all three sides are congruent, all three angles are congruent, all three angles equal 60 degrees, and all equilateral triangles are similar. So you have your example down here, and this could be 60, this could be 60. This will always be 60. So these will always be 60, 60, 60 for the angles. So that will never change. The side lengths may change, but the angles will always be 60, 60, and 60. So for example, this could be like 5 centimeters or 5 feet or whatever. This one would also be 5, this one would also be 5. So that would be the sides. So I'm gonna highlight the sides that are congruent, which will be all sides. All right, so that is equilateral. So now let's take a look at classifying triangles by angles. So we just looked at how to classify them by their sides. Now we're going to look at their angles. So acute triangles have 3 acute angles, as you can see here, here, and here. All 3 of those are less than 90 degrees. And that's what acute means, less than 90 but greater than 0. So that one's pretty easy to remember. And again, that's acute triangle. Obtuse triangles, they also have acute angles here and here, but they also have 1 obtuse angle. So instead of having 3 acute angles, they have 1 obtuse and 2 acute angles. And don't forget, obtuse means more than 90, but less than 180. Next, we have right triangles, which is pretty straightforward. You're going to have a right angle and 2 acute angles. Oops, there's a mistake down there. Let me fix it. That should say acute, not obtuse. Okay, so that is that. So this one's kind of similar to the obtuse triangle in that you're going to still have 2 acute angles. And oops, I meant to do that. Okay, and also these are complementary. The acute angles are complementary. So these two are going to add up to 90 degrees because they are complementary. So I guess what I'm saying is if this is 90 degrees, of course, in the corner over here, if this is 50 degrees, just making this up, this one has to be 40 degrees because they have to add up to 90 degrees. And this is only true for right triangles. Next, we have equilateral triangles. This one is also, or equiangular, excuse me, equiangular triangles. So this one's also very easy to remember. Another thing is that equiangular and equilateral triangles are the same. They both have 3 equal sides and 3 equal angles, or 3 congruent sides and 3 congruent angles. And again, we still have a 60, 60, 60 because all the angles have to be the same. So this angle, this angle, this angle all have to be equal to each other. Okay, and we already did this part in a separate video, so that's that.